Good morning, church. So I had a devotional all planned, and my plans got changed. I had breakfast this morning with Ryan Stahl. If you don't know Ryan he was a pastor at the Rock, and about a year ago, God just got a hold of him and said, I want you to sell everything you have, and I want you to move to Nepal, you and your family. So he did. And when I say everything, he sold everything. He sold his house, he sold his cars, he sold all his possessions. He cashed out his 401k, and he had a great job. He was an engineer. Great pay, everything. So gave it all, let it all go, and he moved to Nepal. So when I first heard him talking about this, I was initially very moved, very like, wow, what a step of faith. And there was a part of me, if I'm honest, I'm thinking, man, this is crazy. But Lord, I was inspired by it. And so fast forward a year, I had breakfast with him this morning, and he began talking about. I'll just say this: as I talked with him, I could see the passion and the zeal in his life. He was so moved by the love of God. He was so zealous for the Word of God. He was so motivated by the love of Christ, and that he's like, and he was leaning into the commands of God and the promises of God. And you could just see the richness in him. And I got to be honest with you, I walked away from our conversation jealous. It seems so weird, but I actually walked away jealous. And so I'm thinking, and when I say that, here's where it comes from. I want to be all in my life. Ryan was all in. Now, does this mean that we should all sell what we have and everything we have and move to India or Nepal or wherever? No, I don't think that's what it means. But I started thinking, what does it mean for me as a Christian man in America to be all in? And everything. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength. What does it mean to love him with everything? And I think it's a really, really complicated question, but yet I think it's a very simple question at the same time. But it did get me thinking about our church vision, and it got me thinking about mission to our city. And it really got me thinking about our church and how much I love our church, and I want so bad for my life to be all in, but yet for our whole church to be all in. And so I want to share one passage with you that came to mind after I left my conversation with Ryan. And there's a command in it and there's a promise, because a lot of what we talked about when I was with Ryan was that, as Christians, Jesus says, if you love me, you will obey my commands. So it's not just about clinging to promises. It's also walking in obedience to the Word of God, because it's a reflection of our love for God. So here's a passage I want to share with you. It's in 1 Timothy 6, 17 through 19. Timothy says this. He says, "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment." So number one, it says command. Isn't that interesting? It doesn't say, encourage people. It says command those who are rich in this present world. Well, that's me, and that's you. That's us. So it says not to put our hope in all the wealth and things that are there, which are so uncertain, but to put our hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. So he provides us. Everything we have is a provision from God, and he does it for our enjoyment. I think that's great. That's wonderful. And then it says, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Now, let me just stop right there for a minute. One of the fears I have with Mission to Our City, first of all, I was super encouraged. 600 people out in our communities, serving and loving our communities in a time when churches aren't even meeting. Super encouraging to see what is happening in the church. But I got to be honest with you, what I worry about is that we put Mission to Our City on the shelf. We put Bless on the shelf. And once Mission to Our City is done, and I'm telling you, it is the last thing that we can do. If anything, Mission to Our City ought to inspire us to live all in 365 days a year. It says, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, well, I'm going to stop right there. So here's my thought, you guys. Mission to our city was the beginning. And what Timothy is commanding us, not just encouraging us, he's commanding us to do, is to be rich in good deeds and be generous and willing to share 365 days a year. So who is that blessed person in your life? That person that God is calling you to bless, to listen to pray for, to listen to invite over for dinner, to share, to serve, and to share your story. Who is that person? Go and do it. Don't put Mission to Our City on a shelf. Be generous with your life. Be generous with your resources. Give freely. Give generously. And then at the end here, it gives a promise, which I love this. It says, in this way, they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. So it's saying that you're building up treasure for yourself in heaven, and then it also says that you will take hold of life that is truly life. This is what I saw with Ryan. There was life in him. It was real life. There was fullness in him. And that's what I want, man. I want to be all in. I want our church to be all in. And I think what God is commanding us here to do, not just suggesting, He's commanding us to live a life that is committed to being rich in good deeds and generous 365 days a year, not just during Mission to Our City. And in doing so, we will experience true life. That's what He's saying. So anyway, I hope this is encouraging to you. I'm sorry I'm a little long. I could have gone a lot longer, but I hope this is encouraging to you. God bless you.